So at Standard Bank, we've got some fantastic funding models. We fund projects over 10 years, which, it improves the cash flow for the supplier. And it also then helps him with affordability. And then when you talk about, it's pretty much bankability, we look at the off-taker. Can the off-taker actually afford the project? With a bank, we don't just look to fund the project and say, yeah, it's a go. You've got to look at it holistically. So it's quite a deep question, but essentially we look at both the off-taker and the supplier and see whether they can perform. This is twofold. One is we look at the off-taker, so the end user of the project, and two is the supplier who's going to put the project together. Have they got the ability to perform? When you're talking to a bank, the bank needs to safeguard the shareholders' funds, right? And so when we talk about a project affordability, we also have to look to see whether the counterparties that we're getting into a relationship with and banking, do they stack up? So there's a whole lot of FICA documentation and all those things. But when you look at the key elements, we mainly look at, are they using the right quality equipment? Are they charging the right tariffs? And at Standard Bank, we've got a fantastic funding model where we fund projects over 10 years, which makes affordability a lot much better. And so, when we stack all those things up, we look at affordability and then the quality of the supplier on the back of that. And shifts we're finding in PPAs is that a lot of smaller players are falling away. There's been a kind of consolidation in the energy space. And you've got some real big players that are taking shape. Good reputation, quality balance sheets. And, it gives the bank a lot more comfort to support that kind of project. And so, going forward, we expect big relationships, a deep relationship being formed with those suppliers. Legislation is all-encompassing. I've got my specialists who will tell me about the technical aspects that need to be covered. And 100%, we totally agree. Legislation is all important. But, being from an accounting background, for me, the biggest one is the tax allowances that SARS gives. We've currently got the Section 12B tax allowance, which depends on the size of the project, up to 100% accelerated allowance. And, right now we're running an initiative with our clients to get their projects in before the end of their tax year, which is coming up in Feb, at the end of Feb. Projects don't, get completed overnight. You've got to go through a process of finding the right EPC to get the project done. You've got to then come to the bank to get funding. We then got to approve it. And then they got to do the construction. And we've seen during this last financial year, the last tax year, there was a big rush. And there's not enough EPCs, and I'm sure there's panels and batteries out there. But you want to get quality EPCs. EPCs are the installers of the solar systems. And so for me, I would say that the biggest one is the Section 12B, where you got accelerated allowances, and clients really need to take advantage of it. And they need to move swiftly to qualify for this tax year.